everyone. Welcome to Five Tool. My name is Jason. Thank you again for joining us. I'm so glad to spend just a little bit of time here with you on this Sunday morning or whenever it is that you are joining this. I want to say a special hello to all of those who are competing this weekend, and we've got people kind of all around the country competing in different things such as golf, swimming, rodeo. There's an MMA fighter that's following. Some of our baseball kids are doing fall ball. So a lot of families, a lot of athletes all over the country that we have competing, and we're glad that you took just a little bit of time to join us this morning, or again whenever it is that you're watching. Last week, if you tuned in, we did a message about character, and at the end of the message I just kind of put out a feeler to see if you guys wanted to do a study of a book, either James or Philippians. And to be honest with you, the feedback was really good for me, and not many people responded publicly, but we got a lot of private messages, and that's okay. But what I heard from the majority of the feedback was that many of you would rather just keep doing what we've been doing, more of the standalone, topical kind of messages. They seem a little bit easier to apply, and you don't have to worry about missing a week or catching up or anything like that. So for a while here, we're going to just keep doing these standalones. I may build a series here and there, based on one of our tools or based on a certain theme or something like that. But I'll let you guys know that way you can keep in the loop and know what we're going to be speaking about and things like that. So keep following along, look for our post, things like that. Other thing I want to let you know, I heard from a college volleyball coach that participates in our Five Tool Ministries that some of her kids don't have Facebook. And that's something that I really need to hear. Facebook is just a great platform to be able to do this. But what we did is created a YouTube channel as well. That way for anyone that might not have a Facebook account or doesn't have access to Facebook or whatever, you have the ability to send them the link to our YouTube channel as well. I'm new to YouTube, so you're gonna have to be patient with me, but the way I think it works is whatever is posted here on Sunday morning will also post to YouTube, and I don't think I can go back and redo the old messages, but we'll start with this one, and I would love for you guys to subscribe to that channel, share that channel, and let's just continue growing this on Facebook, YouTube. We're on Instagram, kind of researching ways to get into Twitter as well. So pretty soon we'll hopefully be all over the place, and you guys can just share away. So today let's just dig in right to the message topic. Last week went really well, and I had some good feedback about our topic of character, which is one of our 5 tools. Character, if you look up the dictionary definition of character, it's a pretty simple definition, but when you really think about what the definition says, it's pretty intense. It says moral excellence or firmness. Character is moral excellence or firmness. It's above average. It's doing things the right way all the time, or most of the time. Like, you don't mess up very often, right? That's high character. That's how the dictionary defines character. Last week we talked about character as being who you really are. Like when no one's watching, when no one's around, when it's just you, who are you? When you have nothing to think about, what do you think about? That reflects your character. When you're in an intense situation, how do you act? When you're in conflict, how do you act in that moment? Those are the kind of things that we are talking about when we say character. Now, if you read through the scriptures, especially the New Testament, you're going to find that Jesus was a great example of character. He's a great example of so many things, but character especially. And if we are serious about following Jesus, high character, high moral excellence, high moral firmness is our goal. In Ephesians 5, we're told to imitate Christ in all that we do. And if we're going to do that, we need to be people of character. We need to be people of high morals and moral firmness that, and I'm not saying that we're legalistic or judgmental, but you know where you stand on issues. And you're not tempted to break your morality. You're not tempted to break what you believe in for the sake of fitting in or for the sake of people liking you or anything like that, because you have high character. That's what we want. Now, the reality is that this is not developed overnight. It is very difficult just to wake up one morning and say, hey, I'm going to be a person of high character today, and instantly you change. Now, for some of you, that may work. If you're anything like me, it's a lot harder than that, okay? Developing character is a process. It takes a while to develop habits, to develop patterns in your life, to develop kind of default reactions to certain situations or to certain people or to certain conversations. And what I want to do is really only focus on one verse today, just one, and it's a short verse. And then I'm going to give you another top 10 list, and we're gonna close this out pretty quick. So one verse that I would love for you to memorize, put on a Post-it note, put on your mirror this week, whatever it is that you can do, memorize this verse. It's found in Romans 5, verse 4. It was Romans 5, verse 4. This is Paul as he's writing to the church in Rome, and he simply says this: endurance produces character, and character produces hope. Endurance produces character, and character produces hope. Now, let's talk through this just a little bit. Endurance produces character. Have you ever been in a season of life, maybe a season of your competition or whatever, that just, it seemed like no matter what you did, it was a struggle, and you had to endure that? Maybe you had a coach that just pushed you more than you thought you could go, right? But then when you get through that season, you realize how much you've grown, how much stronger you've gotten, how much more you can persevere, right? That there are people in our life that I'm convinced that God has placed in our life for the purpose of building up our endurance, building up our perseverance, because endurance produces character. Character is your firmness. Character is your excellence. Character is when you're pushed beyond what you think you can handle. Are you still you? Are you still solid? Endurance, how much you can withstand, how much you can go through, how you act when times are rough and times not going your way, that produces the character. And this character, we're told in Romans, produces hope. Now, here's my question. How would character produce hope? Well, when you look at the biblical concept of character, it is very, very dependent upon faith and upon trust. I have character because I was able to endure, but I was able to endure because I trusted God. I was producing character because I was persevering, but I was able to persevere because I relied on God to help me get through it. So you see how all of those things are connected. Endurance produces character, but I was able to endure because I relied on God, because I had faith in God, because I had trust in God. And that trust allowed me to endure. The endurance produces character. The character produces hope. So in the end, the hope is a natural byproduct of us fully trusting, fully depending, fully relying on God as we are enduring. And as we are enduring those seasons of life, it produces character. And that character produces significant hope. Hope says no matter what's going on in your life, you believe. No matter what's going on in your life, you're going to trust. No matter what's going on in your life, you're going to rely on God. No matter what's going on in your life, your identity is going to be found in God. That's hope. Hope says, you know what, tomorrow is going to be better. Yesterday may have been pretty rough, but I have hope that tomorrow is going to be better. I have hope that even if it's not, God's still going to be there. That is hope. That is faith. That is trust. That is relying and depending upon God. And as people of character, we have to understand that our endurance is dependent upon our trust in God. And if we can endure and it produces the right character in us, that when times get rough and things are struggling, we are revealing our character and we are producing our character, that is going to lead to a great, great hope within your heart. Now, real quickly, I want to give you 10 steps, 10 quick steps to producing godly character in your life. These are things that if you do, and they're very practical, they're easy to apply. If you can't do all 10, start with 3, start with 5. Whatever you can apply, you do these and you keep adding over time. And you will eventually have an amazing godly character that people are going to want to know, how did you get that? That they're going to see your character and they're going to want to be like you. They're going to see your character and they're going to admire that. That's why they're going to want to recruit you. That's why they're going to want to be your friend. That's why they're going to want to be in your network, is because of your godly character. And I'm not saying you have to go preach. That's not what it's about. Not everyone is is gifted or called to preach the way that I am, that's okay. Many of you will reach many more lives than I will ever dream of doing what you do. You just do you, okay? But do it in a way that shows your godly character, okay? Now, here's your top 10. Number 1, honor God. And whatever you do, Paul writes about this in 1 Corinthians, whatever you do it in a way that honors God. Some of your Bibles will say that glorifies God. Do whatever it is that you do in a way that honors God. If you play baseball, do it in a way that honors God. If you are in rodeo, do it in a way that honors God. If you are a fighter, do it in a way that honors God. Yes, you may have to hit someone's head off, but do it in a way that honors God, right? If you were on the golf course, do it in a way that honors God. If you were a coach in a way that honors God. If you're a parent in a way that honors God. It is that simple. And look, if you don't know what that means, if you don't understand it, ask yourself this before you take action. If I do what I think I'm about to do, will I feel guilty? Will I produce tension between me and God? And if you have any doubt, any wrestling, any tension that is created by that question, it's probably not going to honor God. These are black and white questions, you guys. There's very little gray area in what honors God. If you're not sure if it honors God or not, don't do it. Instead, default to the actions, the thoughts, the words that you know 100% are going to honor God, because you can bet that's going to be safe. And it's going to produce godly character. Honor God. Number 2, seek God. Whatever you do in life, wherever you are in life, whatever season of life you are in, seek God. Now, how do we do this? Well, you need to seek God in my life, by creating some systems in your life. Seek God through your Bible study, through finding good books, finding good authors that help you pursue God. For me, it's journaling. I love to journal. And it's, before I go to bed, sometimes it's before I leave the office, I sit down with my journal and I just write letters to God. What can you do to seek God or to pursue God in your life, to say, God, I'm coming after you. Where are you at? Because I want to get there. And then you do whatever it takes to seek Him, to pursue Him, to get after Him. A book by a guy named Steve Chalk called The Apprentice had a great quote. And it says, my desire is to follow Jesus so closely that I will be dirty with the dust from His sandals. I love that quote. You have this image of wanting to follow Jesus so closely that you're just getting dirty with the dust that He's kicking up. That's what we want in our lives. Follow Jesus so closely. But you can only do that by pursuing Him and seeking Him and truly following Him. Not just calling yourself a Christ follower, but truly following Christ. Seek God. Number 3, produce results for God. If you want to have godly character, one of the best ways that you can continue developing it is to produce results. Several times in Scripture we hear about Jesus talking or Paul talking about producing fruit. And all that means is that when we look at your life, we want to see results of what's inside your heart. That's it. This could be someone that you're influencing, someone that you're talking to about God, someone that you're helping through a rough season. It could be life changes that you're making. I work with a lot of people who struggle with addictions, who struggle with relational tensions. Sometimes the best fruit that they're producing is simply making life change and making new habits. Whatever it is that is producing fruit in your life, where people can look or you can look in the mirror and say, hey, you know what? I'm seeing change. I'm seeing progress. That's what we want to see. And as you recognize production in your life, as you recognize those results, you want to increase your character because you see it's producing more fruit. You see it's producing more results. So produce results for God. Number 4, be aware of the enemy. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but every single day you wake up, every single day you step on a field of competition, there is an enemy after you. There is an enemy, in my world we call it Satan, right? But Satan is trying to distract you. Satan is trying to bring you down. Satan is trying to draw you away from the 5-tool person we are trying to equip you to be. He doesn't want you to be that. He doesn't want you to influence people in a way that leads them to God. Why would he? So he will do whatever he can to attack you at your weak areas, in your insecurities, in your family, in your relationships, in your jobs. in your opportunities, whatever it is. Even if you're going through a rough season, a rough patch of the season, Satan's going to be there. And he's going to be that voice in your head that you're going to have to tune out. You're going to have to ignore. You're going to have to turn up the voice of God. But please, 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 be aware that there is an enemy after you. Put on the full armor of God as you read about in Scripture. Trust in God. Seek God. Honor God. And if you can focus on producing fruits no matter what type of season you're in, you're going to resist the devil. In James, I believe, it says, seek God. Seek God and resist Satan, and he will flee from you. It's all about what you seek. At our church a couple months ago, I had this quote that really resonated with a lot of people, and it said simply this: what you feed grows, and what you starve dies. What you feed will grow, and what you starve will die. If you want to kill off Satan in your life, starve it. Don't give him attention. Don't give him focus. Don't give him a second thought. Don't give him a second glance. Starve that relationship, and it will die. And the opposite is true as well. If you want to grow in your relationship with God, you need to feed it. You feed it by whatever means necessary. Be aware of your enemy. Number 5, trust God's plan. Trust God's plan. Can I confidently sit here and tell you that I know what God's specific plan is for you? No, I can't. Here's what I can tell you. Jeremiah 29:11. That God knows his plan for you. God has a plan for you. It's a good plan. It's plans for hope, plans for a future, not plans to destroy you, not plans to harm you, not plans to hurt you. Trust in God's plan. Know that God has a plan for you, and our life's work, our life's journey is discovering that plan and each and every day taking steps toward that plan. It could be as simple as just honoring God every single day. Every single action, every single conversation, honor God. That may be his plan for you. That may be those daily steps that leads to you discovering his plan for you. But trust in God's plan for you. His timing is not always our timing. His plan is not always our plan. And I'm begging you, trust in God's plan. Even if you're in a rough season, trust that it is part of God's plan. Endure that season. Because remember, that endurance produces character. And that character produces hope. Number 6, talk with God. If you do not have an active prayer life, please start. And it can be as simple as, you sit down with a pen and paper and you write a letter to God like I do. It works great for me. Or maybe I can give you a quick formula to pray. And it's simply, hey, tell God who he is to you. It's that simple. Tell God who he is to you. And then remind yourself who you are. That God is above you. That your will is under God's will. That God's agenda is more important than your agenda. Then ask your needs. What is it that you need in your life? What do others need in their life? And you pray for them. And then finally, you thank God for everything in your life. For the blessings, for who he's made you, for how he's given you opportunities, for your parents, for your family, for your friends. Thank you. Always end with a thank you. Tell God who he is. Tell God that you are underneath him, that you are submitting to him. Present your needs and others' needs to him, and then thank him. Simple 4-step way to pray. It is a great, great, great system for you to basically start a prayer life. But talk to God. You cannot have a strong relationship with someone that you don't talk to. That's just the reality of it. So if you struggle with your prayer life, please private message us, and I would love to walk you through that. I enjoy teaching people how to pray. I think it's so powerful. And you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be professional. God just wants to hear from you. Okay? Talk to God. And again, if you need help with this, please private message us, and we will get back with you. Number 7, stay focused. There will be times in your life where you find yourself drifting. You find yourself not being intentional about your character, about your living in a godly way. When you notice that, get back on track. Whatever it takes, you get back on track. Stay focused on your path that leads towards godly character. Stay focused, man. The minute you lose focus, you will drift. That I can promise you. You've seen friends, you've seen family that lost focus, and the next thing you know, they have drifted farther than they ever imagined possible. Number 7, stay focused. Number 8, find some influencers in your life. Who are some professional athletes that you look up to? Who are some coaches that you look up to? Some teachers that you look up to? Who are people of faith that you can watch their life and see how they live? See how they live out their character. How do they flesh out their godly living? Find some influencers in your life. Now, I think what happens is as you find influencers in your life and you start following their lead, internally there's this desire for you to influence other people. I just think that's what God does. People influence us, and in turn, we want to influence other people. Now, it may not happen overnight, but I really think as you allow people to influence you, you will find and discover this desire to influence others. So please find some influencers in your life. Number 9, use social media to your advantage. If you are old enough to have social media, I want to talk very, very sternly to you. Use that to honor God. Nothing else. That's it. When you try to use it for anything other than what God would be pleased with, you are going to find yourself in trouble. That's just the reality, you guys. In my family, we have 3 rules of social media. You can share things about your family. You can share things about God. You can share things about your passions. That's it. Family, God, passions. All of them are positive. Positive. And 4, drop some God nuggets is what we call them. Drop some God thoughts out there on social media. Social media is full of junk, of garbage, of gossip, of falsities. And if you can just contribute a little bit of truth, a little bit of positive, a little bit of truth into your social network, do it. Do it. This is a great way to flesh out and display your character. If you're gonna post something, 1, ask if it honors God. 2, ask if it reflects God. 3, what does it say about you? 4, what does it say about how you feel about others? Does all of that line up with who you want to be? Use social media to your advantage, not to your detriment. Use it to your advantage. You can influence a lot of people on social media just by doing it in a way that honors God. Number 10, this is our last one, and I think it's important. Choose your friends wisely. Choose your networks wisely. I think it's safe to say that many of us, if not all, are a product of the environments that we find ourselves in. We just are. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just the reality. And if that is the reality, then you need to be intentional about choosing the environments that you're in. Choose your friends wisely. Choose your networks wisely. Now, I'm going to be the first to tell you, I don't mind if you have friends that are different than you. I don't mind if you have friends that don't think the same way, don't act the same way. That stuff doesn't bother me as long as you are the influencer in that network. As long as you are the influencer in that group. But if you are in that group and you are the one being influenced, you need to leave. It's that simple. It's that simple. I don't mind if you are friends with people different than you, that do things different than you, that talk different than you, that look different than you. None of that bothers me. I think it's great. As long as you are the influencer. But the minute you think they are influencing you in a way that is leading you away from God or away from who you want to be, you need to get out. You need to get out. And when they ask you why, tell them that you're more concerned about who God's making you than that. That group will come and go. I'm telling you, it will come and go. There are groups that some of you belong to right now that in 10 years, you won't even remember their names. It's just a fact. God will know your name until the day that you die. And I want your name to mean something. I want people to think of your name and think of your character, to think of the way that you handled yourself, the way that you carried yourself, the way that you presented yourself on and off the field of play. So quickly, to review our 10. Number 1, honor God. Number 2, seek God. Number 3, produce results for God. Number 4, be aware of the enemy. Number 5, trust God's plan for you. Number 6, talk with God, communicate with Him. Number 7, stay focused and don't drift. Number 8, find influencers to invest in you. Number 9, use social media to your advantage. Build yourself up, build others up. And number 10, choose your friends and your networks wisely. I promise you, if you can start working through this list, it's only 10 things. If you can start working your way through this list, you will find yourself developing godly character. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again next week. God bless.